Hey guys, it's Tiffany again, and I'm going to do my September 2019 wrap up, show you what I had on my TBR, what I actually read, and then I'm also going to do my October TBR at the same time. September was a tough month for me. I got sick at the end of August for like a week, and in the end of August into September, and then I went on vacation half sick for a week, so I didn't get to read as much. I usually read 4 to 5, maybe 6 books if I'm lucky a month, but this month I read 3 in like 100 pages. So anyway, we'll get started. So my original TBR was The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, and this was from a Fairy Loot box. Dark Asylum from E.S. Thompson. Wilder Girls from Rory Power. The Maze Runner by James Dashner. The Last One by Alexandria Olivia. And House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. Okay. Well, first of all, what did I actually read? Not much of that, by the way. That last one I changed my mind on because I'm not in the mood to read this one right now. The Maze Runner, I'm not sure. I didn't have time because, like I said, I'd been sick and then I'd been on vacation. Wilder Girls, same thing, just didn't have time. Dark Asylum, I realized that it had a book before this one. Yeah. So I can't read this without the first book. I didn't realize that until I was getting ready to read it, and I kind of looked through the reviews. So I decided to hold off on this until I can get the first book and read it. So what I did read this month was House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig, and I gave this 4 stars. It was really good. I totally enjoyed the premise behind it. It was really eerie and spooky, but kind of like old-fashioned. You don't know what's happening, and there were subtle clues, but you didn't pick up on them. Well, I didn't. I mean, other people may have. And then the end comes and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that was coming. I didn't have any idea that it was a little gruesome at the end, a little much. But it was good. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars and I highly recommend this. It was based off of the 12 Dancing Princesses. So yeah, I suggest you read this. It was really good. And this book was an Al Craig book. Okay, and then the other book I finished, was 3 Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. I actually thought I was going to have this done by the end of August, but then I got super sick that last week, so I was actually supposed to finish this in August. But since I got sick, I didn't read for like 5 days, so I finished it in the 1st of September after I got back from my trip. I can't remember how many stars I gave this. I think it was 3.5 or 4. It was in between 3.5 and 4. But I actually really liked the book. It was totally different than anything I've ever read. These 3 princesses they're born as triplets, and then they have to move into different sections of their world and different and they are raised differently based on their attributes. So like one's a poisoner queen, or I don't mean princess, I mean queen. One's a poisoner queen, one's an elemental queen, and then the other one's a naturalist queen. But it's totally different than anything I've ever read before, and the only reason why I didn't give it like a higher stars is because it kind of like starts off really, really, really slow. And then all of a sudden it picks up at the end and you're like, boom, what the heck just happened? And you have to start book 2, which is what I did. The second book I read was One Dark Throne. And what we find out in this book is, well, what's happened with the 3 queens. are they going to, one of them is supposed to kill the other two, and that queen becomes queen, and then she will give birth to triplets and start the cycle over again. But what happens at the end of the first one goes right into this, so I'm not giving you any spoilers. But this one I gave 5 stars to. This was so good, and I read it so fast. I didn't want to put it down. So I think, if you decide to read this series, keep in mind that the first book is going to be just a tad slow, and it's going to be just a tad, world building, and then the second book really picks up and it gets really good. Okay, and so I did start The Merciful Crow, but I think I got about 100 pages into it, and it's not that it's not good. I think, I'm going to come back to it either this month or next, in October or November. But right now, it's just, I'm not feeling it. I'm kind of in the mood to be a mood reader. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It starts off kind of weird, and it's extremely difficult to kind of follow the casts and understand the words. And that's awesome. But sometimes I can't focus on it because I have too much going on in my life to read a book that has so much world building. So I'm going to put it down for a while and come back to it because I do want to find out what happens with our main characters. Okay, so on to the books that I plan on reading for October, and I'm hoping to get at least 5 to 7 books read this month because it's a long month. Winter's coming, and I am ready to bust out some books for some new releases for trilogies are finishing up at the end of the year. Yes, I'm all for it. Okay, so the first book not the first book I'm going to read, but the first book I'm going to show you is A Dress for the Wicked by Autumn Krause. And I got this in a Lit Joy Crate book. And it's basically about, it's kind of like Project Runway, actually. And I'm a fan of Project Runway. But I want to read this. It's about this girl who fears that she will lead to nothing in life. But she basically joins this prestigious design competition and dreams to, get out of her hometown and stuff. And like I said, Project Runway is right up my alley. I anticipate this being a very quick, very easy kind of now world building. So I'm not like totally blowing my mind trying to read all these things that don't make sense to me and getting into that world. That being said, I do want to read Nevernight, which I know has, a lot of world building and it's different wording because I have read like a couple of chapters just to feel out the book. But yeah, so I bought Nevernight and God's Grave, and I just got Dark Dawn. So I want to try to get this series read by the end of the year. I don't know if it will happen. I'm hoping I can. Like I said, sometimes I get into kind of like a mood reading, and sometimes I really just need a break because I read a lot at work. I do a lot and I'm a counselor, and I counsel people all day. So I sometimes at the end of the day, my brain is like, we are done today, Tiffany, so we're shutting down. So that's when books like Colleen Hoover's November 9 come in play. Something that is going to be like in like now real life situations. But this is a contemporary book by Colleen Hoover. I think it's a new adult book or maybe a young adult, but high young adult. I don't know. But the cover looks good, and I like Colleen Hoover, and I'm kind of in the mood to read something a little bit more contemporary this month and to kind of out of, the fantasy. I'd like to read at least 1 or 2 books that are kind of, just easy breezy. That leads me to my next book, which I have started reading. I started it like 3 days ago when I put down Merciful Crow, and it's called The Bone Houses, and this is an Owlcrate exclusive book, and so far I like it. I'm about 74 pages in. It is a little, what's the word? It's a little young reading, if that makes sense. The reading is kind of young, but the world is really interesting. Again, a lot of weird ass words that I don't know. Sorry for cussing. So I'm having to like read those parts really slow so that I understand when they pop up later. But for the most part, it's pretty good. I think I'm going to like it. It's going to be a quick read. I anticipate having this done before the weekend. And so I can start another one of these fantastic books that I have. Okay, next up is Gemini, the Illuminae Files 2. I read number 1. I DNF'd it twice. I didn't actually DNF it because I picked it back up. But I intended on DNFing it twice. But once I got halfway through, it was I loved it. I loved the end. I loved the last half of the story. And I've also heard from other people and read reviews that Gemini was really, really good. It actually follows different people than the original book. And I've just heard nothing but extreme praise for this. Now, it is extremely thick. I mean, it's thicker than Illuminae, and so for this book, I'm probably going to end up reading it over a couple of months, but I would like to start it this month before I kind of forget too much, like what happened in Illuminae, and also the reading style. The writing style is odd, and it's really hard to get used to, and I think that's why I struggled so much with Illuminae, in the beginning. But now that I kind of got my mind around, like, the world, I think I'll be able to read this book a little easier. But like I said, it's probably going to take me a few months to get it done. Okay, and then the next book is Gideon the Ninth. I got this in an unplugged box. I am totally in love with the cover. I'm in love with the edges. I'm in love with the name. I'm in love with the story. I really hope I'm not disappointed. I am anticipating this to be 4.5 or 5 stars. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. Either people like it or don't. But that after I read the Bone Houses, I'm probably going to dive into Gideon next. And then from there go into the more contemporary reading. But I've been dying to read this book since I realized in August what it was for Unplugged Book Box, dying to read it. So I am ecstatic. I've had to like hold myself back from starting it, but I really wanted to read something a little easy. That's why I chose Bone Houses. And then the last book that I want to read, and I do want to read it this month. So regardless of what happens over here, I am reading this book, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I am so late to the game. I got this on eBay along with the Wicked King Owlcrate edition because I ordered the Queen of Nothing Owlcrate box to go with these. And I've never read this. I've just really heard about it about 2 months ago. And so I'm absolutely going to read this because I'd like to read this in The Wicked King before Queen of Nothing comes out in November. So I'm anticipating this to be a good 5-star read as well. So that's it. That's what you have. If you guys have read some of these books, if you've read Cool Prince, Gideon the Ninth, Gemini, November 9th, A Dress for the Wicked, Bone Houses, or House of Salt and Sorrows, or, the Kildare Blake books. Please, please, please pop on my story and type me up a little. What do you think about it? How did you feel about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? You can also pop on my Instagram, and I'm going to put my Instagram in the bottom. I will put my name. I don't actually have a bookish Instagram or anything, but if you want to, you can just message me on Instagram. I have met so many people through like Owl Crate and Lit Joy and Unplugged, and just messaging about books and talking about life, and it's really nice. Anyway, I think that's it. I had one more thing I think I was gonna say, but I forgot. So anyway, like, subscribe, message me, just tell me what you think about all these books, and I will hopefully be back on in the next week or so with October's Unplugged unboxing, because the Unplugged book boxes come out the first week of the month, so I'm ready for them. They're going to be scary, at least I hope so. Anyway, have a good day. Sorry this took so long. I didn't mean for it to take 16 minutes, but I had a lot of books to talk about.